Hey there, it's Boots Owen here. This is my Bosch WFF1401 washing machine. It broke. I didn't know why it broke, but I spent a good few hours trying to find out what was wrong with it and fix it. This video is going to be about that, and if you don't want to see me dicking around wasting my time and yours, just skip on to another video. But if you do want to see me messing around and figuring out how it broke and fixing it in the end, stay tuned. This is the Bosch WFF1401 washing machine. It's tripped the switch, the RCD, I think, the residual current device on our consumer unit where the electricity comes into the house. It's tripped it and it keeps tripping it, so I've got it turned off. I'm going to have to remove it from its location and try and figure out what's wrong with it. There's a load of laundry in it, but it's not too wet, so that's not so bad. I've tried it on a couple of different settings as well to see if it was a cold wash would fix it. For instance, if the element was blowing it, that didn't fix it. In the past, with my Bosch WFF1800 and other Bosch washing machines, it's the carbon brushes that were causing a short, so I'm gonna start with that, but first I'll get it out and have a look at it. Even before that, I'm gonna drain the filter. So down on the bottom, turn these guys through 90 degrees and that should kind of snap out. What I'm gonna do is pull the machine out a bit. Just like that. Even better, on this machine there's a little hose in here that I can release to get the water out. And it's coming out a bit reddy brown there, bit of a weird colour. Not particularly worried about it, but let's mop up that spill. But I guess it's dirty water because the machine was on a wash cycle, so it could be soapy dirty water in here, and there could be more of it than usual. It looks like they're getting about a pint out there. That's not so bad. Alright, so that's all but stopped. Put that back in, get that over there, and open this up. Just check for treasure while we're down here. A little bit more water, but nothing coming out. Nothing in there in the pump. If I just run my fingers around, it feels okay. So let's close that up again. I'm pretty happy with that. Right, stage 2, get the machine out. Turn off the water, this one. And unscrew, which one is it? This one. Okay, and this one on top. I love these push fit fittings. It means you can swivel the pipes just somewhat like that in and out of the wall to get a grip on them, because they're just based on an O-ring seal up there. Nothing major, so we're plugged out and it's just the waste hose then. Plug that into my sink for now, and I've got to pull this out and try and figure out where the motor is. I think it's on the back underneath. Oh, it's heavy. Heavy. So this waste pipe here was falling off whenever I saw it. And just looking at the back here, it does look a bit damp. Now that could be from the mess I've just made, and in fact it more likely is from the mess I just made. So I have a feeling that just came off, but that's a job for me to do then, to reattach that. So I better leave it off for now. This one has no panel on the bottom, so you can reach in from the underneath. Before I take the back off though, to have a look at the motor brushes, I'm going to take the top off and just see if there's anything obvious inside that's causing it to short. It's just a couple of crosshead screws on this one. Sometimes Bosches have torque screws in this position. And if it's torque screws, you need a torque screwdriver. So, pull those off. Oh, and this one has something on the sides as well. So it's got these little tabs. You need a knife to get those off. So they look like this. Mila has them as well sometimes, and in there is a Torx bit, so we need a Torx screwdriver. Torx screwdriver. They're basically just a little chipboard screw. Something like this. Now that just lifts off. Oh, it's dirty in there, which suggests it's dirty. Maybe carbon brushes. If you look around here, there's a lot of dust around. That's a double-edged sword because carbon dust wrecks electronics and causes things to short circuit. So looking in here at the electromechanical timer, all those diodes are black. That's not good because that means somehow they're staticky. So it could be them, it could be something like that. Suppressor, everything's covered in dust, but you know what, I have a feeling it's just that the brushes themselves are arcing. Nothing looks scorched. That circuit board might need a closer inspection if it's not the brushes, but I have a feeling it is. So there's the motor pulley, and the motor is down right in underneath somewhere. So let's lie it on its side and see how we get on. And with the washing machine on its side, you can see right in underneath, there's the motor. There is a lot of black dust everywhere. And there's a brush here and a brush coming down here. And it is possible to do this in situ. So if you can't see, have a look at my other Bosch brushes videos, because they will show you what to do. So on each side is a motor brush, and I'm gonna struggle to see what I'm even doing here. So there's a little cable goes to it. This would be easier if I took it out, but I've got to take the back off to do that. Okay, I'll show you what I see. So right in underneath, there's the little brass brush end, and there's a cable that goes onto it. Now that's kind of popped out a bit, and on top I think it looks okay, but we'll try and get them off and see how we go. So you got to pull the cable off and then jimmy the little brass tab out. So pull that off, push that in and pull it out. Now, yeah, those brushes, that looks fine to me. That's a good long brush there. A lot of dust on it, but I don't think that's the problem. So put that back in. But it was loose, that was what was weird, so it could have been that. Yeah, and that's about the same size as the other one, so it's pretty much equal wear. So you've got to try and bunch up, you can't see nothing on there, you've got to try and bunch up this spring into the hole, bit by bit, and tuck the little tab at the end in. There we go. You pull it back, and then somehow, with a screwdriver, you just nudge the little cable back on. So there's the black fingers, which is a good sign of carbon brushes. So where are we up to then? So it could be an issue with the heating element, and the way to get that off, really, you have to take the front off the machine, which is a bit of a job. So just to see if that adjustment to the carbon brush that was a little bit loose made any difference, because it could have been that the spring tension wasn't right, but it's still, I don't think that was it. Let's just turn it on again and see if the lights all go off. Not yet, so let's put the power on. There's no water going to the machine or anything, so it can't do anything. Oh, that's positive. Oh, there's the lights off, so let's get the lights back on. So it did trip it again, so there's a short somewhere. I paid £8 for this machine on the basis that I could turn it into a coffee maker, and I've used it for about 6 months now, or a few months anyways. I've gotten my £8 out of it. I wonder if it's worth fixing. Over there is the Miele. That one's got some mystery fault. I've been using this one for nappies, so if I give it a boil wash, it'll probably be okay. Just, what's it got? A little bit of soap residue there. Actually, no, it's something more like, no, it's soap, alright. It's quite a clean machine all the same. Old and trusty. What's to be done? Take the front off and look at the element to see if that was something to do with it. So today is tomorrow, and I've checked the motor. You'll have to excuse the noise coming off this machine. It's working, because that's real life. I've got an element out of the Franken-Bosch. This is a brand new element that went into the Franken-Bosch because I thought that would fix it, and it didn't. It's a big 2050 watt element there. It should just be a matter of taking the front off. You take the drawer out, take this bit off, then take the door maybe off, and then you have to take some screws out at the bottom, and then it just kind of should pop off. So I'll give that a go. So you're in for a treat if you like looking at a lot of my back, which I guess nobody really minds. So we've isolated from the supply. Probably not meant to be hauled off like that, but there you go. It's a bit filthy. Quite filthy indeed. It looks like water's been leaking out of the drawer and running across here. That could be an issue. Don't know. Maybe I didn't need to take that off. Maybe I did. Okay, so I didn't need to take the top bit off. Maybe after all that, this element isn't actually on the bloody front. Oh, right. Back around. Let's check it out. We're back on this one, maybe. 90 screws later. And now we're in, and there it is. It's in the back. And there it is, the element with a little cover on it. So we'll pull that out now. So I think you might be able to see it that way a bit better. Here's the element. Pull off those power leads. Get that little plastic thing off, but I can't. So it makes it nice and difficult to see. There's an earth cable on it. Pull that off. There's this little thermostat clip. Pull that off. And then there should be a 10mm nut. Or some other size, 10mm, yeah. I'll get that cover off first, now you can see where you are. Just the thermostat there came out with it. So you slacken off this nut, not too far, just enough to leave a step on it, and then you use that as a hammer. And now it should just come out, but that's always easier said than done. So get a screwdriver, try and give a bit of help. There we go, this one will come out easy enough. I've had these in the past where they've taken bloody forever to get out. You don't want to pull that plastic thing off, whatever it does. Need the old grumpy screwdriver, much bigger, smashed up. It's almost there. Don't want to break that. I wonder what it's getting stuck on. Slacken it off a little bit more in case that helps. Oh, come on. You can see in on top, the rubber at the back's caught a bit, so I have to try and get that out somehow. There we go. Good force. Now it looks nice and clean. There's a bit of fluff on it there. Let's have a look. Bit of fluff stuck to it, but that shouldn't make any difference.
There's no lime scale or anything like that. Let's check the it doesn't look too bad, you know. It's a 2000 watt one. Let's check the resistance and see if it makes any difference. So in my wisdom I left the other multimeter out in the shed. I need to turn this to ohms. Now if I check these, we get a reading. Good. Okay, so what's the zero reading then in that case? Yeah, so 1 megohm scale. It's about there. So let's check the new one. It's pretty much the same. Let's check the old one, the one that was in the machine. It's giving me the same reading. So that doesn't help me. You have to excuse the spinning, so just because I'm not smart enough to know what I'm doing, I'm just going to stick the new one in anyway, and the new thermistor to come out of the other machine, and we'll see if that makes any difference. That thermostat in there. Tighten this up. That makes the seal. The earth back. I'll put the thermostat one back in. This side element. Earth. Other element. And we'll see what happens. So I'll get that front fascia back on. Oh, that other machine's nearly finished. Right. It'll either blow the fuse now or it won't. One or the other. So let's plug it in. We'll know if the lights go down. Get that waste hose back on in case it does a pump out cycle. It just throws it all out the back. We're not on. Switch it on. Switch it on. Ooh, that's positive. Ah, no, there it is. Okay, so as soon as something clicks in, we get it. Alright, keep going. Right, so I turn on the power and there's a momentary pause where it goes clunk. It's hard to know really. It shouldn't be the suppressor because this switch here is after the suppressor. Motor brushes look okay. Element's been swapped out for a new one. Could there be a fault with the pump? It's unlikely. The other thing is the inlet valves. There could be a fault with them. Like I said, it could be stuff on the PCB that could be throwing it. Although in my experience that normally doesn't throw the power. That normally just stops the machine working in a cycle. What I've seen is that it could be the carbon buildup around the motor. It's just causing an arc in there somewhere. It might be worth taking the motor off. I'm running out of ideas. That's another little job. Let's have a go at that. So because of the way this universe behaves, I happen to have what I think is an exact spare motor for this machine. So I'm going to try and crack it out. The belt off. Belt off. We need a spanner. We've got to get another one off in behind here as well. That's going to be fun. Let's see if this makes any difference. Cables off. Everything's covered in dust. Oh, that earth cable's still on. There's that motor out. New motor. Okay, look, so if you hear the spare motor, makes a little noise. It has brushes in it, I think. If you listen to the old motor, that doesn't sound great. So if we can have a look in here at the commutator ring. None of them popped out, but some are more polished than others, which is a bit bizarre. New motor. That motor there, the pulley on the end of it, looks particularly worn. Never a good sign. Not worn, rusted, which will wear the belt, I imagine. Let's nip that up as tight as we can. That will still allow this to turn. Okay, belt. There's our belt back on. Earth. Clips. Hopefully it's the same motor type. Loosen that one a bit. Get a bit of tension on that belt. Nip this one up. Tighten that up good and tight. We'll tighten this one down. Getting tight, good. Okay. Let's go again. So we're back righted. Power off. Plug in. So the machine's on now. Let's try it again. Well, actually, let's put it to the end of a cycle. Let's try that. Let's try turning it on. 1, 2. Oh, motor. Okay, but it's at the end of a cycle, so now I've got no water on it, so I need to move it over to the water. I'll do that, plumb it in and try it again. So let's turn it off again. So we're plumbed in again, water's on, power's on at the socket, but if it's not on here, well, let's select something easy. Number 7. Short, gentle, easy spin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like we're back in action. Excellent. Let's wait for the motor to kick in as well, because I want to see that that's going to work. But that's a bit of a weird one, so we'll have to take the old motor apart and have a look at that. It is covered in dust, and that could be the issue. It might just need a cleaning. I'll probably take the old element, or the new element, out of this machine and put the old one back in, because I don't really want to leave a new thing. I don't know why. I just think it's a good idea while I have to back off it. I might give it a bit of a clean out as usual, but for now that's pretty good. Let's see if it shorts now when this motor kicks in. The other thing I need to watch out for is belt wear, because I think that belt could... Whoa! Okay, sounds alright. Mixing. Yeah, that's better. That's much better. Okay, that's much better. I'm quite happy with that. Making lots of noise, that's the way we like it. Alright, we'll leave this one and see what happens. So the motor seems to have bedded in. I did a test wash on it on a synthetic wash and it was okay. I put it onto a cotton wash with a 40-degree temperature. It's trundling along fine. I hope it's going to work. Make my life easy. If it does, I think what I'm going to do is take the motor out again, check the brushes, because I just stuck it straight in. They could be right down to the last. They're probably halfway done if they're not down to the last. And give it all a bit of a clean. It's a bit dusty, and it would be worth cleaning that PCB just with a vacuum or air duster or something to get the carbon off it, because it's obviously not good for it. So I could take that out. It's a bit of a heavy... It's a job I don't want to do, basically. But there you go. It's working. So here's the motor that came out of the machine. It's one of the older type ones with the pivot so that you can tension the belt. Newer washing machines for some reason just have a belt that's the right tension. Maybe better design or better quality control or something like that. Anyways, with this one, I'm sure that this is the fault, because when I swapped another motor into the machine it worked. So I'm guessing there's something wrong with the motor, and I'm guessing it's a short somewhere. Maybe not because carbon dust. I've given it a bit of a clean, but I didn't think it was that dirty compared to some of the machines I've seen. I've got this turned to resistance, so all I can do is try and find the original pathways for one will be the tacho, 2 will be a coil, and 2 will be the brushes. This one I don't know how to get. Normally they're in pairs, so let's check that. So we're getting something there. Let's turn that up one. So that's there, and I don't know if I'll get anything here. I'm getting something there. Okay. So let's try the odd combinations then. So one of those may have been brushes, another a coil, another the tacho. So let's try an odd combination. We're getting nothing there. That's the way I would expect it. This one to this one, nothing. That one to this one, nothing. To there, to there. So that's okay. We should do it the whole way through. So I've checked that one. We expect that. Nothing, nothing. Actually, let's make it more sensitive now. Let's make it a bit more sensitive. Nothing. Nothing. We expect that. There's nothing there, and back up here. Nothing. So this is really all I can do to check. I don't see anything there. I don't know anything about this. I don't pretend to be an expert on electricity. I just like tinkering with it. But I'm sure that this is the problem, because replacing the problem fixes the problem. If you can think of what it might be, tell me, because I might learn something from it. If you do that, that'd be really useful. As to how I could test to see if it's gone. Like the resistance of all those, of the brushes and the coil seem to be the same. So next up, here's the electromechanical controller. That's the selector goes on there, and to get this off it wasn't too complicated. I just took the front panel off and unscrewed these 2 screws that were visible once the front panel was off, and then unclipped everything. And if I can remember how to put them all back on, that would be excellent. I managed to break 2 of the tabs here and here, these little tabs that hold these guys on, so that's that. What I took it off was to clean it, but in reality it's quite clean, you know. I was expecting, you know, there's a bit of carbon buildup around some of those diodes there. I think those are maybe Schottky diodes over there or something like that. They're a bit dusty as well. The back side is pretty clean, so what I'm going to do is give it a bit of a vacuum. It's weird the way some of them collect a load of static and carbon dust and other ones don't, but overall it's pretty clean really. So I swapped the element for the old one, put the new motor back in, checked the brushes on it. The brushes were good. Everything's back together. I've given it a bit of a clean inside and screwed it all back together again. And I've got it onto a number 7 Easy Care short. The noise is the machine itself and the boiler and whatnot. I just want to check the motor works. So it's filling with water right now. You can see maybe a bit of the water level there. It's where the black and white are, yeah. So it's filling up and it should start to agitate, and once it does I'll click it through the cycle because I don't need to wait for it. Oh, water stopped. Motor. There we go. Excellent. So we're all back together, second time round. Right, I'm happy with that. That's good. It'll probably be trying to heat it to 40 now, so I don't want to waste my time. What I'll do is I'll just click it straight through to 13, which is the drain out cycle, and it should reduce the water level, and I'll be happy with that. Pretty good for what must be about 3 or 4 hours work. Fixing a machine that cost 8 quid with a motor that you could never find anywhere. I guess you could buy them, but it'll probably be like 128 quid or some price like that. There you go. Thanks for watching. See you later. So just to wrap things up nicely, it occurred to me that it might not be a fault between the coil and the brushes or that kind of thing. It could be an earth leak. So the earth tab on the motor is here, so all of the metal basically, anywhere on that. I've got my multimeter set to resistance. It's showing an open circuit. There it works. So if I go through all of these tabs one by one, nothing, nothing, something, something, which is probably the coil, or maybe the brushes. Nothing. Nothing. So there's an earth leak in this motor somewhere. But yeah, that solves the mystery. It's an earth leak in the motor. Ta-da! Thanks for watching. See you later.